Ooh, that looks tasty. Folks, today the Hungry Gamer is back with another game review, and today we're talking about World Wonders, published by Arcane Wonders and designed by Z. Mendez. And I do apologize if I mispronounced that name. Now what this game is this is a civilization building style game that's going to be done with drafting and tile laying. And the main conceit of the game is you're going to be able to put these world wonders out onto the board, and these are the actual world wonders, right? You have Machu Picchu, you have the Lighthouse of Alexandria, and you have a whole bunch more as well that you'll be able to play and get out during the game. And you're going to do this, as I said, through a drafting and tile laying style game, and there is some resource management that comes along with that as well. And before I get started, thank you to Arcane Wonders for sending me this copy to review. Now, before I get started, if you're not interested in how this game is played, just want to jump into my final thoughts, you want to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk about how this game is played. The key here is this game is going to end when any player gets their population all the way to the end of this track, or after 10 rounds when these stacks of additional tiles finally runs out. And you'll notice up here we have the player order, so currently it'll be blue, which I am, then red. Now what's going to happen is on your turn you will draft something. And what you are drafting might be a tower here, it could be a road, being the long road or the series of short roads. You can draft one of these tiles here. You can draft a change in the turn order, or you can draft one of these world wonders. Now we'll start with the tiles. When you draft a tile, the most important thing is that you must start by placing it next to the sidewalk, the road here. So we'll just assume that I were to draft this. Oh, let's make it a little more interesting. Let's say I was to draft this tile right here. And so if I look here, I'll see it's going to cost me 4 coins. And so I'd come right on up and I spent 4. Now it's important to note that you are always going up on your coin track. Every round it'll reset to 0 because it's how much you have spent. And so I can place it next to the road. We'll just say I do that. Then on the bottom it has these symbols. So I would actually get 1, 2 of the culture. And since I passed one of those, I would get to put up my population. And I should have started right here. There we go. And then 1 of those. Nice and simple. And then another player would get to draft. Now, let's just say, and I'll just kind of do a little fast forwarding of showing you how these other things work. Now, if I were to want to draft, say, this building right here, which only cost me 2 coins, I could not place it next to this one, because when you're placing buildings, you have to place it next to a building of the same type or next to the road, and the sidewalk here also counts as road. So I could take it and just say place it over here if I wanted and get myself some food there. Or I could spend 1 coin and get the long road or the 3 short roads. So let's say I took the 3 short roads, and I could say place 1 here, and the first one does have to connect to a road. Your roads always have to connect to other roads. And let's say I place 1 there, and I'll place the 3rd one there. No problem. Now, if I were to draft another one of these buildings here, then I could take it and I could connect it next to a road. Same thing with the long road here. The only thing to note about the long road is the long road can be flipped over and can become a bridge going across water. Now, the towers cost you 2 coins, and the towers just have to be next to something you've built. But what they allow you to do is they allow you to start building roads from there. So if I were to place the tower right there, then I could later buy a road, and I could put a road next to it. That's a bad example, so we'll just pretend that I did this before, which would be a silly way to do it, but now I could put it right here. But now I could say put it right here, and then I could build a bridge over the river, something like that. The other things you can do is you can spend 1 coin and take the first player token, as it were, or if you're or you can decide you want to go second with these spaces over here. The last major thing that you're going to be doing is getting these wonders. Now, each of the wonders has a different condition that it must be fulfilled to be able to purchase it. So if I want the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which will be worth 1 point at the end of the game, I will have to build it next to a road and a blue building. So, just looking at what I have here, let's just pretend that I had also managed to place this like so, which would have gotten me 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would have given me 2 more population. So let's say I'd done that. Now I have my lighthouse here. You'll see it's next to a road and next to a blue building. So I couldn't put it here, but I could put it right here. And that'll give you 1 point at the end of the game. Every time you finish one, you flip out a new one. So now we would have the Roman aqueduct, which as you can see is worth a point, and a food. And you can just kind of see that there. And that is actually the core of how this game is played. Now, the only other thing to talk about is the in-game scoring. Because at the end of the game, you're going to score several different things. First of all, you're going to score points for each of your wonders that you have. So in this case, my lighthouse is worth 1 point. You'll score 1 point for each one of these natural resources that you did not cover. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm up to 11 points. Then you're going to score points for every building district, so single building tile that you have completely surrounded by things that are not green. So in this case, I've scored nothing, but if I just move some things around a little bit here, for an example, I'll just put this right here and just pretend that I'd gone ahead and gotten myself some more tiles, some more roads here. And of course, this would be a terrible, terrible play, but just kind of giving you an understanding of how it might work. Like so, and like so. Now that does not actually work, but you'll see that now this is completely surrounded and there is no green around it. So that would give me 1 more point. Now, I just surrounded it with roads just to kind of demonstrate how that works, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. It is very possible to surround yourself with other buildings. So this here would give this one a point, and then if, let's just say, I place another road out like that, now that one is surrounded as well. And that's pretty much how this game works. You're simply going to play through a total of 10 rounds, and at the end of the game, whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. Then there are 2 more things that you're going to score during the game. The first one is you have in-game scoring conditions. So for example, in this one, if you have having completed building districts of all those types will potentially get you 3 points. Whereas down here, whoever has the most food at the end of the game is going to get 3 points. And there is a whole stack of those that you're able to do. Then the last thing that you're going to be scoring in the game are your resource tracks. And so you'll get points again for however far you've gotten down on this track. And then whichever one of your resources is the lowest, you'll get those points. So in this case, I would get 6 points because my culture here is the lowest. Now, I neglected to clarify that when you buy a wonder, the cost is not set. You will have to spend gold for it, but you actually have to spend however much gold you have left. And this is probably the key point of the game. So I could get Machu Picchu here at this point if I had the correct building layout, and it would cost me 2 gold. If I was right here, it would cost me 1 gold. If I was right here, it would cost me 1 gold. And if it was the very first turn, it would cost me 7 gold to get that. Then at the end of each round, as I said, your gold will reset. I should also point out that you do have the opportunity to take out a loan. If you take out a loan, you're able to go up to 9 gold, but it's minus 2 points at the end of the game, or at some point you have to spend 3 gold in order to pay that loan off. But really, that's how this game works. So what do I like about this game? First thing is, it is an awesome production for a small box, relatively inexpensive game. It looks amazing. The wooden meeple wonders are just awesome. I mean, this game looks fantastic on the table, and you would think that it is a much more expensive game than it is. And so that's just awesome. Next thing I'm going to say is it scales really well from 1 to 4 players. And it does that because it adds in a different polyomino once you get to 3 players and another with 4. So it's always going to feel like it's the same game, but with more players, there's a little bit of added complexity, which kind of makes up for the fact that people are going to be taking more of the tiles. I think that's very, very clever and works really, really well. Along with that,
you're constantly faced with hard decisions. And that's because of the limitations that are placed on you by how you can place things. So every single turn, it is a hard choice to be made. And that extends not only to which tiles are you getting that are going to go where, to when to get a road, to where to put the roads, to which tile to get so you're getting the right resources that are going to get your points higher, to but it even extends to when are you going to get that wonder, because the wonder is only going to cost whatever amount of coinage you have left, but someone else might want that wonder at the same time as you, so you have that kind of push your luck that you're dealing with, and that's just very, very satisfying as you're playing through the game. The next thing I'll say is there is simultaneously a wonderful feeling of brain burn along with relaxing play. And that's a very weird kind of combination to me. But it's a very relaxing game. In fact, last time I played it, Improv Dan and I, we were just kind of doing a game. We were just having a little game day, and we had a really kind of tense game of Vindication, and we're going to play Summoner Wars next. But in between, we're like, let's have something calming. And we had this incredibly intense game when you looked at the score at the end, but it was so calm and relaxing, and it really gets your brain working in a way that not many games do. There's not a lot of games that I truly feel like are really good puzzles and relaxing at the same time. And so I think that's a little bit special the way that this game does that. So what are my quibbles with the game? The first one is the wonders can feel underwhelming because they're worth 1 or 2 points, or sometimes a point and a resource. And for the amount of work you have to do, and sometimes the amount of coins you're paying to get these things, it can feel like, but all I got was that. Now, that can be mitigated if you're able to place them in a way that's going to be blocking off several tiles. So now you're actually getting your points, or your point or points for the wonder, plus you're getting points for blocking these things off as well. But it can feel underwhelming if you're not placing them particularly strategically. Next thing I want to say is, even though the puzzle is challenging, the game is simple enough that I think really it screams for some kind of expansion. Yes, you have the different goals that you can put out, and yes, in a lower player count game at least, you're probably not going to see all of the wonders, but I have played 2-player games when all of them actually were seen. So I think to really come back to the table over and over and over again, you're really going to want an expansion of some sort. Now, that said, I really enjoy this game, and I want to keep playing this game, but after 4 plays or so, I'm thinking, okay, what else is there? What else can we see? And I think that's simply because it is a relatively simple game. Next thing I want to say is, and this may or may not be a bad thing for you, it's actually not for me, but I'm on record as saying, overall, I like multiplayer solitaire. I enjoy that. I enjoy being able to say, what I'm doing is going to be better than what you are doing. And yes, there is some interaction. You're able to buy first or second in the turn order. You can take something that somebody needs. But for the most part, there's not a lot of interaction. It's not a fully heads down kind of game. You are looking up a little bit and paying attention. At least if you want to do well, you're looking up and paying attention to what other people are doing. But it is a little bit multiplayer solitaire with not a ton of interaction, and that may or may not be your thing. And the last and most important quibble that I have is I suck at this game. I am so bad. Even when I think I'm doing really good, I still lose. But there you have it, folks. That is World Wonders. As Mark Dainty would say, I am chuffed by this game. I think it's a lovely puzzle. It looks beautiful. I really enjoy it. And I put it right up there with Furnace as these simple games that you can get from Arcane Wonders that are just very simple, but so very rewarding in a small gameplay period amount of time. And that's a very weird phrase, but I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to leave that. Small gameplay period of time. Wow! Who writes these scripts? Nobody. Nobody writes these scripts. That's why you get statements like that. Anyhow, but there you have it, folks. As always, if I made any mistakes in the rules overview, please let me know in the comments with the timestamp so I can get that into the Klingon subtitles. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.